Hi everyone, it's Jessica. Thanks for watching today as I create this one-page layout. Now today I am going to be playing with my gloss spray. This is by Dina Wakely and it is called Night. That is the color. It's available on my website and I will post a link below. I am also inspired by a post that I found on Pinterest, and you can see on this sketch that there's meant to be like a little bit of something over to the top corner and the bottom corner, and I'm going to use my gloss spray to create those splatters behind there. Now I am working with the current May and June mix-in paper collection from Close to My Heart. I love this one page because it has a bunch of tags and banners and things of that nature on there. And then I think I'm going to use that black piece and then that scrap, and that's how I'm going to pull it all together. All right, let's go ahead and put that gloss spray on our base page. Now the base page is actually one of the pattern pieces from that mix-in collection, but it's just a really subtle look. Now that one spray that's a little bit smaller than the other, I didn't press the nozzle down all the way. So if you kind of hold your gloss spray back a little bit and only press down partially, you're going to get a different look on your spray as opposed to if you hold it really close and push it all the way down. Now only some of that's going to be peeking out from behind my photo that I'm going to build here. Now I'm just kind of showing you some of the things that I have gathered to use on this layout. I did take one of those tags from that mix-in collection and I used it like a pattern paper really and cut a tab out of it using my tags and tabs thin cut. And also I cut a couple of hearts, stitched hearts out of the stitched heart thin cuts as well, and all of those are also from Close to My Heart. And then I'm just taking my edge distressor and going around this one pattern piece that I am going to use to back my photo with. I really wanted this layout to kind of have a rough sort of look and just really add a lot of texture and dimension to it. And I'm also going to take some tissue paper, and that's just regular wrapping paper tissue, and back my photo on that too before I put it onto this pattern piece of paper. That's my new favorite trick. I saw a couple other ladies using it, and my daughter had a birthday, and I just kind of snagged all the tissue paper and carried it up to my craft room, and that has been my thing ever since then, and I've really enjoyed that. So a couple other pattern pieces here. Again, everything from that mix-in collection. In fact, I don't think I use anything else. Everything comes from that mix-in collection for May and June from Close to My Heart. And this piece has some almond in it, so I'm just kind of edge distressing it with my almond ink. And I really love that one white piece that has the black hearts on it. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. And the white in there, you can't really see it very well in the video, but the white has a very subtle wood grain to it, and then those black hearts are just in a pattern over the top of that wood grain. It's a really pretty piece of paper, but I love the back side as well. So when I am done edge distressing this, I think I'm going to fold it because the back side has the almond color and black, and also bluebell, which is the color of the blue that I'm using here. And so I think I'm just going to fold that one corner down, and then I'm going to stitch it in place. And then that way I can also see a peek of that other piece of the pattern paper that is on the flip side of those hearts. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna kind of fuss with this a little bit, trying to make sure that everything is going on straight. But you know, I'm just looking at that sketch and just kind of using it as an inspiration and a guide. I don't really have any sort of dimensions or anything that I am following or putting things in certain places. I'm just kind of eyeballing it and placing some things down, trying to make it so that those gloss splatters that I put on the base page are just kind of peeking out from behind the top right corner and the bottom left corner of my paper, or my picture, I'm sorry. All right, so here I'm gonna come in, and like I said, I'm gonna fold down the corner of that heart pattern piece so I can see those cute little polka dots on the other side. And I did wanna just tack it down with a couple of stitches so that I, again, was adding some texture with the thread there. And I used my paper piercer piercing tool just to pierce a hole, 2 holes in there, and kind of create, actually I think it must be 4 holes, to create a little X to hold it down. And then I also want to grab some of these tags that are on here because there are meant to be some sticking out from behind the photo cluster. And so I think I'm gonna go with, what am I gonna use? I like that one. It's got that bluebell color, and I'm gonna put it over top of those hearts right there. Yes, I'm gonna put it over top of those hearts right there, and so that way I'm bringing in that blue color as well. And then my heart will go right there. Those are those stitched hearts. Those are some of my favorites. All right, I'm starting to think about embellishments here. So I am bringing in some of the black acrylic shapes from close to my heart. They have a bunch of arrows, a couple of ampersands, a few hearts in there. And so I pulled out 2 of those little tiny hearts that are just kind of sitting up there at the top of my page. I haven't placed those down yet. And then I'm going to kind of fuss with some of the arrows and trying to figure out, which arrow I want to use. There is an arrow, I think, on the sketch, and so I was trying to stay somewhat true to that. I did like that idea, and so I kind of played around a little bit until I figured out what arrow I wanted it to be. And then also, like I said, just trying to see what other ones that are in there that I could use, and I decided just to stick with those 2 little miniature hearts here. Okay, so I'm going to pop up that one stitched heart that I cut out of paper on some thin 3D foam tape, and I really love that it just is a little bit popped up, but it's not huge. And then normally when I am adding my buttons, and these are the wood buttons from close to my heart, when I add these to my layouts, I usually stitch them directly onto the page. And you're going to see me do that a little bit later for some buttons that I put elsewhere. But because I had put that 3D foam tape on that heart, I didn't really want to mess with trying to poke my needle and my paper piercing tool all the way through that foam tape. And so I just kind of added some of that thread to the buttonholes before I glued it down. And I just use, this is a bottle of art glitter glue. This is what I use to kind of put down any of my buttons in addition to stitching them to the paper usually, and any of the acrylic shapes that I might have. I find that it works really well. All right, now down in the bottom right corner, we need to create another little cluster. And so one of those pennant banners that's on that Mix-In collection has some journaling lines on it, and it's also in that almond color, which is perfect. I want to bring a little bit more of that in because I do have a little bit up in that top corner by that heart, and so I want to kind of bring some down to the bottom corner so that it looks like it's growing across the page in a diagonal. And then I pulled out a couple of the strips that are also part of that paper collection, and they just have like little spots where you could put like a date, for example, or a title of something, or like a little mini pennant or banner. And there are some that say different things. Like I think I end up pulling out the one that says wonderful that's sitting right there in the middle. I'm going to cut that off. And so there's just like a lot of different ways to use this paper collection, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm going to have to get a second pack of it because I'm working my way right through it, and I'm going to want to have some more. All right, some more thin 3D foam tape behind that heart that's going to go down there at the bottom. And then eventually I will put my journaling right there on that tag or pennant banner that's on the bottom right-hand corner. Now, this picture is actually from a couple of years ago. We moved recently, but prior to that, the house that we lived in was right near the city park, and there were a bunch of sidewalks and jogging trails and just, a playground. Lots of really great things that were super close to our house that we could access just by going for a bike ride or going down the sidewalk. And so this was a summer day, and we were out for like a family run. Well, I was running, and my husband was kind of running very slowly to keep up with my girls on their bikes. And then we had my son in his jogging stroller. And so we kind of stopped in the middle of the sidewalk and took a family selfie, which we don't really do very often. We don't really ever take family selfies or even selfies at all. And so we did, and it ended up being one of our favorite family pictures, even though I cringe a little bit because my face is like prominent in the picture, and it's huge and it's red and sweaty, and I'm like on a run in the middle of a summer day. And so it's not very flattering, but I just love everybody's expression and the way that everybody is kind of crowded into the picture, and you can see with my son's eyes that he's got a smile on his face too. So it's one of our favorite pictures that we have. I think it's even the wallpaper on my husband's computer right now. And it has been for a long time. All right, so I'm just continuing to kind of add some of these embellishments around the page, and there you can see, like I said, normally when I add my wood buttons, I just stitch them directly to the page, and sometimes I even put a little bit of glue on it first. But here I think I just went ahead and stitched it on. In my opinion, I feel like buttons look a little naked if they don't have any thread through them. Buttons are meant to be sewn onto clothes, and so I feel like they have to be sewn onto layouts. So I always take the extra 2 minutes to stitch them onto my paper. And then I find too that you can grab whatever kind of thread you've got. I usually just use my embroidery thread. I've got a big collection of colors from other crafts that I do. And that way it's another way to kind of pull in some more colors on your layout as well. All right, so I'm just kind of fussing around. I only had those 2 little acrylic hearts, and I wanted to have some more little tiny black embellishments scattered around the page. And so I pulled out some of those black bursts by Close to My Heart, which are just, they look like little black bursts, and they have adhesive glue dots on the back of them, so they are adhesive. And then in addition to that, I pulled out my liquid pearls, which I have in the onyx color, and I just added a couple of little black dots from my liquid pearls as well around some of those different clusters. All right, now this is an older stamp set. I believe it was a stamp of the month a couple months ago, maybe last year. And there is this one word on there that said, well, it says scrapbooked with love, and I really just wanted the love part. So I went ahead and I stamped it, and I'm going to do my best to cut off that scrapbooked with is so close up at the top, but I ended up having to kind of fussy cut around it because I couldn't get close enough in my trimmer, and just kind of cut out the word love. I like it because it has a second stamp that has a pattern that you can stamp inside of the word love, so it's got the outline and then the inside pattern. And so I used my Bluebell ink just to kind of add that to my title as well. And then I'm going to put that down in that bottom right hand corner. And I'm getting pretty close to being done. I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. I had a lot of fun creating this one using those new mix-in papers from the May and June collection, and of course playing with that gloss spray, which is so much fun and it's so easy to use, and I just really love how it creates a fun textured background behind your papers and your picture, and you just kind of hold it and spray it. My tip would be to kind of put it in a box or something to kind of contain the mess a little bit. But other than that, it's super easy to use. All right, guys, I hope you are having a crafty day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.